Hi guys! In today's video I'm going to show you how I access my port. Now I forgot to record the intro to this video yesterday whenever I filmed it, but I'm doing this voiceover because when I am recording when I'm accessing my port and trying to record at the same time, it's not very easy because of the sterile process and everything. So I thought it'd be much easier just to do a voiceover. I'm going to throw a disclaimer out there for those of you who are watching this video and have a port or know somebody or have a loved one with a port and you are planning on accessing it. I do want to put out there, this is not to be taken as medical advice. This is just for refreshing your mind of steps that you've already been given by a medical professional. Also, make sure you receive permission from your medical team or your treatment team, whoever manages your health. Make sure you receive permission from one of them, and you have also received direction on how to do this from your treatment team. And this is just intended to either be informative on refreshing your mind on the steps, or to just watch and see what it's like if you're curious. So that being said, without further ado, I'm going to jump into the video and I hope you guys enjoy it.
My name's Olivia. I was born with a rare genetic condition. My suffering does not define me. With every battle I face, I am made stronger through faith.
And free! Before getting started, make sure that you have all of your supplies with you, since you will not be able to go back after putting on your sterile gloves. For your supplies, you will need a dressing change kit, which contains your mask, your sterile gloves, your sterile field, and your chloroprep. Then be sure to have your extra dressing if you do not use the dressing that comes in the dressing change kit. I use IV-3000 and secure it with a large tegaderm and a small tegaderm as needed. Then I use a 3/4 inch 20 gauge Huber needle, a bio patch, which will help reduce the risk of infection. Be sure to grab a sterile saline syringe that is able to be placed on your sterile field for making the process much easier. Don't forget to grab an end cap to assemble at the end of your Huber needle. After you have grabbed all of your supplies, be sure to place them in a spot that you feel would make the sterile process easier for you. Before you do anything more, be sure to sanitize your hands or wash them at a sink with antibacterial soap, as this is very important in the sterile process, even though you will be wearing sterile gloves. Next, you may begin to open your dressing change kit. Very careful not to drop any of the contents on the inside onto the table or the floor. After opening your dressing change kit, very carefully remove your mask from the top of the dressing change kit and put it on. This is an important first step because your mouth carries a lot of bacteria. Most dressing change kits come with 2 masks. Since you're accessing your own port, you can save that for later or give it to someone else for COVID purposes. You are going to very carefully open up all of your supplies onto the sterile field. You want to do this without touching the supplies on the inside of the packaging. This is important because all of the supplies on the inside of the packaging is sterile. The outside of the packaging is not sterile, so you don't want to touch that to your sterile field either. But just make sure you don't touch the supplies on the inside or allow them to drop on the table or the floor or anything like that. Some of the supplies is a little bit trickier than others to open because how large some of the items are. So to prevent them from falling off of the sterile field, you can use the outside of the sterile field to pinch the inside of the item in between the packaging, and this will prevent it from falling until you are able to get it safely on there and then let go. You will see me doing this with my sterile syringe. See how I'm grabbing the syringe with the packaging and then I let go as soon as I get over the sterile field. After you get all of your supplies onto your sterile field, you're going to start by putting on your sterile gloves. These gloves are folded over so that you are able to put them on without touching the outside of the glove. So just be very careful not to flip that folding over until you have the glove completely on, and I just use the inside of the glove and pull over and it just unfolds perfectly. Then since you have this glove on, it'll be much easier to put on your other glove. Just be sure not to touch the outside of the glove with your ungloved hand. Now, I have my Apple Watch on and some hair ties, but you don't want to do that. Make sure you take those off. I forgot to, and it doesn't really bother me because I've done this a million times and I'm very careful. But next, you are going to start by opening your sterilizing solution, whatever you decide to use. I just use ChloraPrep, and it comes with 3 swabs on the inside. Even though you will be able to cover the entire area with 1 swab, make sure you use all 3, and if you can, it's kind of difficult for me, but if you can, try to use friction in the areas that you're able to. Now, obviously, if your port is protruding like mine, it's a little bit more difficult right on top of the port or around the port, like right around it, because it's sticking up, but just do the best that you can, because killing off the most germs possible is the best, because if you can't tell, I already had sepsis once, and that's why I have a scar on the other side of my chest. After sterilizing the entire area that will be dressed, I like to move on to priming the line, because you cannot wave the area to dry it faster, or like fan the area, whatever you want to call it. You don't want to do that because you're just fanning bacteria onto it, and you want to keep that as sterile as possible. To prime the line, you will just take off the white cap that your Huber needle will come with, and you want to put on your white cap that you have taken out of the packaging and place it onto the end, and then you want to get the air out of your syringe, because if you don't do this beforehand, you're going to end up having a bunch of saline come shooting out of the syringe. So if you get that air out first and then hook it up and push enough through just for a couple drops to come out of the needle, that's perfect. That's all you need to come out. And then you're going to clamp off your line, and if you want, you can put that white cap back on the end of the line that the line came with originally, and it just screws right onto your end cap that you placed on there. If you're going to use any type of skin prep to protect your skin from the dressing, then you want to do that step now. And this dries fairly quick. That's why I don't do it directly after sterilizing the area, because the alcohol also seems to dissolve it or something. It just doesn't seem to work as well. So I like to do this next and just wipe down the area well enough where the dressing's going to be going. This part isn't super important. It's more so a preference type of thing, or if you have mast cell, it might protect you a little bit better. Next, you're going to take your needle, and I like to hold the end of the needle in between my last 2 fingers. This way, it's not touching anything that hasn't been sterilized. Make sure you take off the protective casing that is over the needle, and then you are going to hold your port secure and place the needle in. And this should go fairly smooth if you have a prominent port like mine, because all you have to do is push it into the center of the port. Next, you just place your bio patch if you have one, and then you want to take your dressing, remove the backing, and make sure you hover it over your port area and it's going to go exactly where you want it to go. If you have a prominent port like mine, then it's not going to go completely flat against your skin. There are going to be some creases and wrinkles, but that's why I have my second set of dressing with the Tegaderm, because I use that to secure this dressing. But you do want to make sure that you do your best to get as many wrinkles out as you possibly can. Also, make sure you hold your hands over the dressing for maybe 30 seconds, because heat will help it stick to the area. And you want to do this, if you have IV 3000, you want to do it before you take off that clear backing, because if you take that off before it's actually stuck on there, then it's going to come up when you take off the back. After you take off the backing of your IV 3000, or after you finish applying your dressing, then you may remove your gloves as long as there's no holes or wrinkles that lead to the inside of the dressing. And you may also remove your mask. Next, I like to use a piece of Duoderm to put in between my line and over the dressing so that there's no holes around the line, because that is where the dressing tends to start to come up once it's been on for halfway into the week. I just do this by cutting off a very small piece off of the 4x4, because that's how big my Duoderm comes. And then I cut a little tiny piece out and I stick the Duoderm right in between so that it covers my dressing and it goes right under my line. After I stick on the Duoderm, you will see me cutting out a small little piece off of the Tegaderm, and then I use this for extra securement around my dressing, just to ensure that no bacteria, no air, nothing can get inside of my dressing that's not supposed to be in there. It's supposed to be totally sealed. But yeah, it's just safer if you're using IV 3000 or Tegaderm. It's just safer to go all the way around the port with something else to secure it on there. And I didn't end up using my large Tegaderm. I just ended up using my small Tegaderm because I felt like I put the dressing on fairly well this time. But you can use whatever you want for your dressing as long as it comes in sterile packaging. You can use what comes in the dressing change kit, or you can buy your own or ask your home pharmacy about what other options they may have available. Now, just to let you guys know, I did forget to do this after accessing my port, after putting the needle in. And it's really unfortunate because I don't normally do this after accessing my port and before putting the dressing on, because I know where to place the needle and how it feels in my chest and everything like that. But if this is your first time accessing it yourself, then just make sure you do this before putting on the dressing, just in case you have to start over. But you want to use the rest of the saline in your syringe to hook up to, and then push some saline through and draw back to make sure you get blood return. If you get blood return, it means you're in the right spot. If you do not get blood return, then it means you probably went into the wrong spot. Now, if you're doing this all by yourself and there's nobody else around and you went into the wrong spot, then it's not the end of the world, but you will have to start this process all over again. After you have checked for blood return, next you're going to sterilize the end of your white cap again, and you're just going to flush your line with heparin. Now, I do know that there are a few people that don't flush their ports with heparin. If that's the case, then obviously don't do this step. well, if your doctor or whoever has trained you to access your own port has advised you flush with heparin, then just make sure you sterilize the end of your port line and then get the air out of the syringe and flush it with heparin. When you are done flushing your line with heparin, all you have to do is put an end cap on, whether this be a swab cap or some people use the med caps that are red. It doesn't matter either way because the next time you go to use it, you are going to have to sterilize it anyways. That being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it is helpful or informational. If you enjoyed this video, then hit that thumbs up button. If you watch my videos regularly or you enjoy my videos, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification sign to receive notifications when I upload new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. Bye!